actually take a chance at Mike Tyson not being able to do what he used to do. Because that's what he's doing. The gamble is, like, there's not a chance in hell that Jake Paul would survive.
Joe Rogan recently dropped some bombshells about the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight contract, and what he revealed makes the match sound more like a Netflix drama than a legitimate boxing event.
I think 20 and 40. Yeah,
20 and
I think
40.
that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight.
According to Rogan, the bout was packed with clauses and conditions that made it feel orchestrated down to every jab and duck, more like a Broadway show than a real fight. The idea of 57-year-old Mike Tyson trading punches with 27-year-old Jake Paul already seemed like a spectacle. But these revelations make it clear this was more about entertainment than athletic competition. Money coaches Tyson, a legendary heavyweight with an unmatched legacy, stepped into the ring against Paul, a social media influencer turned boxing's wild card. The fight, which already had the air of a high-budget circus, now seems like a business deal dressed up as a sporting event. From performance clauses to possibly scripted moments, the fight may have been designed more to dazzle fans.
They're not of similar ability. Mike Tyson's one of the most gifted fighters ever created. Jake Paul, who knows how good he is? He fought one actual boxer and he lost that fight. We don't know how.
Than to deliver genuine competition. Rogan's expose has left many wondering how much of what they saw in the ring was authentic and how much was a carefully calculated performance. Andre Korbicke. Boxing fans were left stunned, and the internet exploded with disbelief. How could this fight even be real? Mike Tyson, a man who built his career by crushing opponents with ferocious power, stepped into the...
Jake Paul is fighting Mike Tyson, and I gotta know, you know, like he's a lot younger, he's half his age, and he's training around the clock for the last few years.
Ring with Jake Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer, notorious for making people hate-watch his every move. It felt like a bizarre crossover event straight out of a Hollywood script, because according to some, it was a script. When whispers of a so-called fight script began circulating, they added a whole new layer of drama. The alleged leak claimed the outcome had been predetermined.
Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
Interesting.
Script.
How so? What do you mean by
It's just
script?
weird. It just...
Like scripted in what way?
No, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so... It's odd.
Complete with specific punches, dramatic knockdowns, and a finale worthy of a blockbuster. At first, it sounded too absurd to believe, until people started connecting the dots. Joe Rogan, who's no stranger to combat sports and their conspiracies, didn't hold back. He dissected the fight with brutal honesty, pointing out moments that felt more like a choreographed action scene than an authentic boxing match. His take? If there was a script, they stuck to it in ways that felt suspiciously accurate. This isn't the first time celebrity boxing has faced accusations of being more WWE than WBC. Jake Paul's fights have been magnets for controversy, with past opponents raising questions about fight fixing and strange contract clauses.
No, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so... It's odd, bro.
The timing. It's a timing.
I mean,
He
it's
fights
obviously odd.
No, he fights two no-names, beats them both.
Well,
and
the
then...
whole Jake clauses. Tyson, for all his legendary status, is no stranger to shrewd business decisions either. Put these two together and the idea of a scripted fight doesn't seem so far-fetched. The alleged script detailed Jake surviving an early onslaught, staging a dramatic comeback, and Tyson losing gracefully to set up a potential rematch. Conveniently, these moments lined up almost too perfectly with what unfolded in the ring. Rogan didn't outright call it a fix, but his sharp analysis left fans questioning what they had just witnessed. Ultimately, the fight wasn't just about boxing, it was about business. Tyson and Paul are masters at creating viral moments. This wasn't just a clash of generations or skill, it was a strategic spectacle designed to dominate headlines, drive profits, and spark endless debates.
Not necessarily Mike Tyson, but it was something like this, like he'd actually get a fight with like Canelo and just get mobbed and be like, well, of course you lost to Canelo, but get a massive payday. But now it seems like it's this.
Well, this one was really random.
Why settle for a one-time payday when a perfectly staged rivalry could guarantee a rematch, or even a trilogy? Pairing Jake Paul with Mike Tyson wasn't just a fight, it was a calculated business move designed to dominate headlines and shatter pay-per-view records. Still, many hardcore boxing fans hated every second of it. To them, the spectacle felt like a circus, a mockery of the sport they loved. Yet even the loudest critics couldn't look away. Jake Paul thrives on staying relevant, and Tyson's name still carries unparalleled weight. Together, their star power created something bigger than boxing, sports entertainment on steroids. This brings us back to Joe Rogan's brutal analysis. His deep dive into the fight wasn't just about calling out the theatrics. It was about questioning the authenticity of what fans had just witnessed. Joe Rogan's analysis of the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight wasn't just about calling out suspicious moves.
Like Matt always says, play to your strengths.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
but you know,
doubt.
you got to take that payday. I mean, what did he make out of that fight? He probably made $10 million or something.
Yeah.
It was about defending the integrity of combat sports. Rogan has spent years celebrating authentic warriors and breaking down real fights. To see a bout that seemed staged didn't just disappoint him, it struck at the core of everything he stands for. Was this fight a clever marketing stunt, or a legitimate competition that looked too cinematic to be real? Perhaps the truth doesn't even matter. Tyson versus Paul wasn't about winning or losing. It was about dominating the cultural conversation. In that sense, whether scripted or not, they both succeeded. When Mike Tyson squared off against Jake Paul, it felt less like a boxing match and more like a scripted blockbuster. The fight was packed with moments that felt too perfect, leading fans and experts alike to question its authenticity. For boxing fans, seeing Tyson lose was heartbreaking, a blow to the legacy of one of the sport's greatest icons. Jake Paul's performance, however, raised up.
This. It's not what boxing's about, is it? It's about two fighters of similar ability, training really hard, finding out who the better man is. They're not of similar ability. Mike Tyson's one of the most gifted fighters ever created.
Eyebrows. His ability to absorb punishment seemed almost superhuman, especially against a power puncher like Tyson. Critics noted that Paul, despite his limited experience, managed to stay composed under pressure, employing defensive tactics far beyond his known skill set. Rogan found this particularly suspicious, highlighting moments where Paul's survival seemed almost unnaturally well-timed. He dissected Tyson's measured pacing during the fight, pointing out how Tyson appeared to pull his punches at critical moments, allowing Paul to recover and retaliate. This was uncharacteristic of Tyson, whose fights historically ended within the first few rounds. Rogan also questioned Paul's defensive maneuvers, describing them as strategically precise and almost rehearsed. For many, these moments blurred the line between a legitimate contest and an expertly choreographed performance. Things got even messier when Joe Rogan dropped a bombshell about the fight's contract. He claimed to have
younger and he can move his feet around. So again, from round one, nothing surprised me so far. Connects with a quick 1-2 combination, timing appears slightly off. His punches a fraction slow.
seen excerpts from what he described as an unprecedented agreement between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. If true, this document contained clauses that could completely reshape how fans view the fight. According to Rogan, the contract for Tyson versus Paul was less about combat sports and more like a Hollywood blockbuster. Here's the detail that has everyone buzzing. Rogan alleged the contract included a clause stating Tyson couldn't knock Paul out after the 5th round. That's right. Iron Mike, a man who built his career sending opponents to the mat faster than you could say KO, was supposedly contractually obligated to pull punches. Rogan wasn't alone in his suspicions. He highlighted a growing trend in big-money exhibition bouts where contracts prioritize entertainment over integrity. These agreements are crafted not to uphold the purity of the sport but to maximize profits. After all, why focus on boxing's traditions when you can...
Said that if Mike Tyson, I think even if he loses, it's like it affects his legacy, but at the same time,
No, not
the
really.
money's so good, it's like,
Yeah, but
why
do you
give
think
a
it-
rake in millions from a spectacle that's more theater than sport. Such deals aren't about the art of fighting, they're about who leaves the ring richer, more famous, and with a few extra zeros in their bank account. It's storytelling wrapped in boxing gloves, leaving fans questioning whether what they watched was real or just a carefully choreographed show. Maybe this is simply the reality of modern sports. As Rogan pointed out, it's no longer just about skill or legacy, it's about creating viral moments and driving pay-per-view numbers. While purists may lament, the blend of spectacle and strategy seems to be the new norm, turning fights into stories designed to dominate headlines. Dana White, known for his zero-filter
That he was making the money he says he's making, Showtime Boxing wouldn't have gone out of business, and Showtime would have made sure they kept paying.
opinions, didn't hold back when addressing the Paul Tyson fight. In an interview, he scoffed at the idea of fighting an older legend, doubling down on his belief that celebrity boxing is ruining the sport. But let's be real, Jake Paul didn't stumble into boxing by accident. His rise has been as meticulously planned as a Hollywood blockbuster, complete with trash talk, call-outs, and headline-grabbing feuds. So, is Jake Paul a real fighter or the sport's most brilliant manipulator? The truth might be a mix of both. Paul started as a YouTuber, pulling pranks and creating over-the-top vlogs. Somewhere along the way, between launching a merch empire and stirring controversies, he decided to reinvent himself as a boxer. To everyone's shock, it worked. His fights became must-see events, raking in millions in pay-per-view revenue and, remarkably, making boxing cool again for younger audiences.
Paul, who knows how good he is? He fought one actual boxer and he lost that fight. We don't know how good he is. That's up to him to prove, because he's certainly not done it last night, has he?
Whether Paul is a legitimate boxer, a marketing genius, or a media manipulator, one thing is certain. He's built a career where every punch, tweet, and call-out serves one purpose: keeping the world watching and paying. Love him or hate him, you can't deny the hustle. In today's fight game, that hustle might just be the real heavyweight title. This raises a bigger question. Should legends like Tyson risk their legacies for these spectacles? Is it worth tarnishing their iconic careers to participate in modern-day circus acts? Or should the greats simply hang up their gloves and let the next generation take center stage? The Paul Tyson showdown has set a curious precedent for future celebrity boxing matches. Joe Rogan has already raised the alarm, worried this could mark the beginning of the end for legitimate boxing as spectacle overtakes sport.